Hello, everybody. It's been a long time. This is Dance Without Music, Precision. Today, I didn't realize that I didn't know that I was gonna make this video, but it's been a long time, and I just told myself that I had to do it. It's more like an update to tell you that everything is going according to the way um, that I thought it would as far as the Dance Without Music is concerned. Um, we're still going to do the full dance, like I said. Um, I didn't know, and I know a lot of people didn't know that it would get this intricate, but it is very intricate and is very precise. Now we're going into, which this has been a long time, it's been a long break. Um, we're getting into precision. Okay, I don't know when. Maybe to be a month from now, maybe a week from now, or maybe 3 weeks, 3 months from now. But I wanted to tell you that it's going in a very good direction. I'm the type of person that I know something and I believe in something, but I still, not that I have to see whether it's going to work, because I know it's going to work. I just, I don't take things for granted. And not just that, but I know in order to get from one stage to the next, like the last stage that we were working on, to precision, that is going to take a lot of hard work. Pain, I can say, but it's not really like a pain. It is pain, but I've been doing this so long, I know that we, we tend to generalize a lot of things. Like, for instance, we say, oh, I'm in pain, or oh, I'm this, or this. Maybe it's not pain. Maybe it's just because we don't have the vocabulary, or I can actually say for this right here, we don't have all of the vocabulary for this study that we are doing because it didn't exist. One big point that I wanted to make while I was on my break is that you know that we went over how can I say it? We went over like the control. We went over all these things, and if you just started this lesson, you have to start from the beginning. Like I said all the time, always start from the beginning, or else you're going to end up with holes, or you're not going to understand because I utilize vocabulary, but we change a lot of vocabulary words and we add a lot of vocabulary words. So, like I said, um, this is oh, what point did I want to make? Because I didn't go over anything. I'm just doing this like um, I just had decided that I had to do something, and I didn't go over anything. I just wanted to do freestyle because it's an update, like I said. And I'll get back to the point. I'm sure I'll come up with what I wanted to say exactly. But like I said, a lot of things that have happened. Okay, we were talking about the pain. That's what it is. Okay, so we have this vocabulary, a limited vocabulary. But what I'm trying to say is like when I was on my break, I can't say it was on a break because I was always working on it. But while I wasn't doing any YouTubes, I had to come up with what was the next step. What was the next step as far as what we're gonna do? I got precision. I even think I talked about precision a little bit. So that's going to be the next thing as far as the next thing as far as what we're going to get into precision. And okay, and we were talking about one thing I wanted to make as far as the different things that are concerned. What I did is there was a lot of things that was that I had to work on in order to get to precision. I want to turn this thing off, but I don't turn things off. I just keep going, and like I said, you miss some things if I turn it off and then figure out what all the things I wanted to say and stuff. But I know I'll come up with it. Like I mentioned about the pain, it's not really pain that I go through, but it's hard for me to explain. It's just I've been doing this so long. Oh, this is the point. Okay, I'm glad that I did this way because I don't like turning things off. I just want you to see how I do things without a script, and I didn't go over anything. And now I'm losing the point again, but I want to get it now. I don't know why I just didn't. I came up with them, then I, I lost it. But so anyway, the things that I had to do before I got to this lesson. Okay, um, there was one thing I had was with like the balance. Okay, this is what I wanted to say. Now I'm just gonna say it. Okay, I figured out what to call the certain things that we were talking about. Like, for instance, the things that we developed were like the control, I said, pressure. I'm almost sure I put pressure. There's a lot of things you have to go back over the lessons if you want to know what's going on here. There was, what's another one? We had tension. That was another one. We had, I'm just brainstorming. We have weight. We had, like I said, tension, weight. Uh, um, there was so many things. So let me go. Let me see if I can remember some of the things. Okay. So we had like. So let me get this together. Move this out the way. And like I said, this is a. This is a kind of a like a. This is a like something to tell you that I'm going to start these lessons back again. Okay? So it's like an update. So that's what I want to say. I'm sorry I didn't go over everything that I was going to do. I usually get a mental picture, but this time I just wanted to do it to get back into this stream of things. So we had like the tension, you remember the tension. We had the control to where you load the control and you can pretty much, the control is in here, the control is in here. What's another thing we have? We have balance, okay? And as far as balance is concerned, that's one thing that I have been working on and has developed. Because if you remember, and I want to keep the points that I have balance, and I want to tell you what these things are called. We're going to categorize all these things. And I had to balance, and if you remember, I said that this one, okay, remember this thing switches around. You have to really be intelligent or understand a lot of things and think things out. Because I said, like, this is the right or the correct quadrant, if you remember that. So we're working on the balance. So we had to balance. And if you remember, this one I couldn't balance. And I had to tell, and I said there was something with it. And now I can. Actually, I had a long day, and I was actually cooking something or something, and I knew that things were going all right because all of a sudden I started balancing on this side, which is the other quadrant, for no reason. So I knew that everything was going in line, and I could probably do it a little bit now, more than what I could do before. Okay, so it was like that, and I couldn't do that before because I was working on it. So I came up with this quadrant, this other quadrant, and I was saying that this balance, there was something about it, which it is. And what it is that we're used to using like one quadrant, maybe this quadrant, to balance the most. And the big deal, as far as what I came up with, was the fact that we have another quadrant over here. But when we walk, we talk, we go around and do things, we don't realize we do things in quadrants, like I said. So we, in our mind, we don't use quadrants or anything. It's kind of like sloppy. So now we know that we have this quadrant, and the reason for the imbalance in this one, and I'll tell you more reason why, is because this one is not really recognized, okay? Or we're really sloppy about it. But some people could probably do it, but I'm just talking about in natural, in normal, at the average person, okay? So I'm working on this book, and it started getting very well, doing very well. But I added something as far as I didn't want to develop it all the way because I wanted to add something, and I'll tell you about that later on. But first, let's continue with this balance. So we have balance, like I said, and we balance, and this is the in between quadrant. This is, like I said, the right quadrant, not meaning right and left, but this is the left. I mean the right quadrant as right quadrant as far as like correct right, and it's also been called the natural quadrant. Now this is the in between quadrant. Okay, okay, and we talked about that. And this one is the other quadrant, which is very important, which I developed and I broke it back down because I wanted to do something. So I'll explain it to you later on. So we have the balance. Then we, like I said, we had the tension. Okay. We have force. I remember force. And force we were talking about when we do things. Oh, so I had to figure out something to categorize these things as. So I decided to call them, and this is just an update, so I'm just, brainstorming. But I decided, which was a long while back, decided to call them powers, okay? Because I had to categorize them when we talk about them. So when I use the word powers, and we're using another vocabulary word, or extending the vocabulary words for this dance without music. So, whenever we speak of like tension, balance, weight, movement, force, we're going to pretty much those are going to be categorized now as powers, okay? So now we can just say the powers. It has nothing to do with anything else. Powers of be or whatever. Like I said, everything is pretty much for dance without music. Now, like I said, the next one is going to be, when I start back again, it's going to be called precision. Okay? And I was so happy that we got through the last ones, okay? But now I just wanted to do this update. So now we have the powers, and we can explain. We could say, okay, this power or that power or this power or that power. And remember, we came up with the powers because we deleted gravity. Deleting gravity gives you the opportunity to see the powers in different ways. Before, everything was just gravity, and that's it. But then we lifted gravity, threw it away, and we separated all of these powers, okay? Now, if I show you how precision is going to be, now in precision, we're going to do, like I said, the Michael Jackson dance, and it's very important. And we'll get through it, but remember we started out as steps and things like that, like steps, things basically that you can see with the eye. This one is going to be precision. You're going to have to really, really already finish all the last lessons. Again, you could start with what I'm going to show you right now, but like I said, you'll end up with a lot of holes. It seems so simple and so easy, but in fact, it's not. I mean, it's not. Maybe later on, when a lot of people do it, It'll be easy and simple. But like I said, we're not going to be using so much our eyes. When we were doing the beats, I could show you like like I could show you like like this, okay? And we did this and we did this, and we said like like slow, okay? And then we have fast, okay? And then we have like a rhythm, something like that, something like that's just a rhythm. It's so fast you can't do one, okay? So it's that's the next stage. So we have slow, fast, and rhythm. But now it's got something even faster. And this you won't be able to see, okay? And this is going to be called precision, and this will get you us through the dance, okay? And there's something else, okay? Like I'm not. I like dance, and I like dance without music because it's really like exercise. But there's a lot of dancers who want to use it because they want to dance. But my major thing is that's not. I mean, I'm not. It's not something I want to do as far as dancing is concerned. But I love this project and everything, and I like to watch people dance. But it's I don't really want to dance. As far as putting it in my curriculum. But I love to go out dancing and things like that. But as far as wanting to do choreography and things like that, that's why I picked Michael Jackson's song because it's already done, and I utilize that in order to teach this exercise dance without music. So the reason why I'm saying that is because there was something that I'm using now to help explain to you about precision and how I'm going to do precision in this lesson, okay? And one thing I've always wanted to do was tennis, okay? And that's why, um, that's something I really like to do. That's something that I can keep my attention because after we finish this dance, without music, we'll know the dance. But this is just something I wanted to do and something I'm going to continue to work on. So it's like precision is like here in this line, maybe it's like a circle or whatever, everything that we're going to learn. This, what we're learning today, we're not actually learning, I'm actually showing you something which is going to help me explain to you how to do the rest of the dance. This dance without music, okay? The precision of dance without music. So this will really be like at the end of the lesson of precision, okay? And like I said, it's for you to see something. When I say see, I don't mean look with your eyes. I mean see in your mind or interpret. It's for you to interpret about how things are happening when you do the dance without music, okay? So, this is very short and very easy, but when you do something like this, it's like so intense, okay? It's because you're using your mind and your body, okay? So the first thing I wanted to do is study. Because I'm studying by myself and I have to work and everything, and I said, what part of tennis that I can utilize that I could do, at home or whatever. And I broke it all the way down, broke it down into like molecules, if you want to call it. I would say molecules or atoms, okay? Breaking information down. So I said, well, it would be the thing I would have to work on would be uh, the serve, okay? So I came up with one exercise as far as the serve is concerned, okay? Now I'm going to show you. And remember, we're going to do it in quadrants. We have this quadrant, okay? We have this quadrant, but we're going to, the overlap quadrant is the in between quadrant or the between quadrant. Okay, so you could use this quadrant, like I said, like this. You can use this the other quadrant, the right quadrant, or the natural quadrant. But if you're going from, if you're using, if you're going like this and using this part mostly, you're actually using the in between or the between quadrant, and that's what we're going to use. And the only thing I'm doing is just watch this, okay? I hope this thing is on. Because I don't want. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, okay. So here I go. Okay, now, right there, I think I should go through all of them. Yeah, I'm going to go through all of them, and then I'll explain something. Just do it again. Okay. Okay. Now, just that simple thing, it looks like if you just use your eyes and you didn't go through any of the lessons before, you won't even understand what I'm talking about. But it's still good because you'll get to this point sooner or later. But if you follow the lessons and you know what I'm talking about and you kind of get the feel of which way I'm going to through, like I said, okay, if you can get a premonition, like I've said, we use, that's another vocabulary word that we fixed in this Dance Without Music. If you can get the premonition of what I'm, if you follow all the lessons, you can pretty much get a very good premonition of what I want you to do and what I'm going to do and what I'm doing. Okay. Now, like I said, it seems so simple as far as going like this. But now at this point, and this point would be outside, pretty much, it's imprecision, okay? Yeah, it's pretty much precision, but I'm just going to say it's imprecision, okay? The lessons that we're going to cover. But because it's Dance Without Music, I can't say that it's like in the lessons, it would have to pretty much be at the end, okay? But it's just an example, okay? Because we're not doing this tennis thing in Dance Without Music, but it's just to show you something. Now, what are the things I did? The only way I can explain it to you would be, like I said, there's a control, there was weight, there was balance, okay? There was tension, okay? But there was about 8 things that happened, even if I just do it once, okay? That one short time, about 8 things, I can say 8 things happened. So how can I explain it to you? What I could do is I could say, like, I could trace certain movements, okay? When I say trace, all the things that happened, it happened like in a line, okay? And I could take, because I've been doing this a long time, I could take to where just what happened up here, and when I trace it, I mean I stay here and I do everything like a few times, and I could tell you by tracing that point, I could tell you something about what's like. It would be like I told you. Remember when we did this? Only now we're dealing with, you can't see. You have to just sense it, or you have to see it within. Okay. So I'm going to trace it up here. The first thing. The first thing, actually, like I said, the mind with this precision, the mind and the body are pretty much one. I mean, you pretty much organize to where you know where your mind and your thoughts are, and you know how it works with the body. So first of all, I had to say, what am I going to do? Okay, and if I say I want to be in this position, and another thing too that we went over, the apparatus. That's in the other lessons. We fix the apparatus first. Now the apparatus is fixed, and I said I was up here. So the first thing is a thought about what you want to do. Okay? So I trace that, and I'm only tracing the thought. Okay? And what I can say pretty much happened there was I created an almost like an explosion. Okay? This would be more like I said, the only way I could really um, explain it would be uh, hydrogen X has nothing to do with anything. It's just to explain to you something. I say hydrogen X doesn't have anything to do with hydrogen X because I'm not doing chemistry. I'm not doing anything. We're just doing dance about music. But I'm expressing to you something, and I have to use a word so that you would understand. And the only thing similar to it would be hydrogen X. So what I did is I said I had a thought, and don't try it because I'll explain it to you later. I'm just doing this to show you where Dance About Music is going. And you'll get to this point. So it started out with a thought because I traced. What I'm saying is my trace. When I trace, that means my attention is on just what's happening up here. Okay, and like I said, something okay, I'm not going to say force, but I'm going to say hydrogen X because it's more like that. An uncontrollable explosion, like I can. If you don't believe that, I can show you how it can be true. Because like if you have a hammer and you have a nail, okay, and you want to hit the hammer on the nail, if you want to do something, but it has to be precise, and it can't be like it's an explosion, but you have to take all this energy and put it just on that nail. So you take the hammer and you have to know how to do it the right way, and you put the hammer there and you make an explosion and you hit that thing. Okay, if a machine were to do it, you would see that it would be an explosion. So that's the first thing: is I create an explosion, an uncontrollable explosion. That was what I did to when I traced what happened there. Now that I made the explosion, I'm going to see what happens after that. I can change. Now I'm changing the apparatus. You remember the apparatus? Okay, so okay. I traced. I traced where the explosion went first. Okay, when I'm in, I want to call all of this. Let's see. Okay, I can pretty much say that this is the right. I'm going to say that this is the right quadrant, and I'm doing this in the right quadrant. And the first thing I guided that explosion into here, into this side. Okay, that was where I traced it. Okay, that's where I traced it. So that's another thing that happened. I had a thought. First I fixed my apparatus. Then after I fixed my apparatus, I came up with an explosion. I created an explosion, hydrogen X, and I guided it through here. This is the this is the right quadrant, and I guided the explosion to this side. Okay, counter to the to the quadrant that I'm in. Okay, so that's where I trace the second thing that I did. Now I'm going to trace what happens after it gets in here, and I can tell you, exaggerate. When I made the explosion, it went like this. Okay, so I came up with the explosion, or I created the explosion, and I brought it here, and then I came back. Okay, I know because I came here. Now I'm going to see the third thing that I can talk about that's going to be that happens. Okay, so the second thing I did when I traced it back was I balanced on the right quadrant. I balanced on the right quadrant. Like, that's what I did. Okay. So I traced that. Then what did I do next? So now I'm tracing the next thing. So what I had is I fixed my quadrant. I can even do it on this one. I fixed my quadrant. I came up with the explosion, the hydrogen X. I guided it to here, opposite the quadrant that I'm in. Okay, and then I balance on the quadrant. And like I said, I'm tracing it. Like right now, I'm tracing it. But it's okay. Okay. So what I see there is that the next thing that happens is the energy from the explosion is lessened. It's used. I used some of it so far. So it's lessened. So now I have, what I did is I held it here. Let me see. Thing I held it here. So I'm tracing it now. I'm tracing what happens after this. I hold it. So after here, I catch it. I catch the hydrogen X. I catch the energy from the hydrogen X here. Okay. It's sort of like, to exaggerate, I catch it here. I catch it here. If I'm in this one, I catch it here. I catch it here. I catch it here. Okay? And then the next one, oh, let's see this one too. Let's see. Okay, so I catch the energy here, okay, from the explosion, and I release it. The next one, which I'm doing now, I'm tracing it. Okay, I catch it here, and then I catch it here, in here. So I can trace it again, because it's run out of time. So now I have to get this going. I catch it here, then I load the control into here. Okay. Okay. I load the control like we talked about and then I release it. From here, the energy's here. I load the control, and then I release the energy. Okay. It goes a little bit further. So let me just, because I'm not gonna now, we're run out of time. So then I release it, but then there's something else that happens. It happens in the mind. Once I release it, I go back. I go back to the motion goes back to my mind. I have to read where the ball is. Okay, I let it go. I'm reading where the ball is, and then I catch the force. So now it's a force, and I catch that force, and that force is a power. Okay? Okay, so I can't go over this, but I have to, because now it's getting too much time. So I did explain everything, I just couldn't go over and over and over it. But the last one was in the control. From the control, and the reason why it's in the control, because control is the precision, okay? And the control releases the energy, okay? But then I catch it, okay? Then I go back, my concentration goes back because it's released, and I want the ball back. So I have to find it. I find the ball, and the ball comes back as a force, okay? It's not the same energy, it comes back as a force. And now I have the force in my hand. Okay, so now you can see. So the only reason why I did that was to show you the precision that we're going to use, and I'm going to refine it so that we can go through the dance. So now when I will look at the dance, I have to see where the energy is, where the powers are. Okay, so this is the dance without music, and now we're in precision. Like I said, the most important thing is to start from the beginning and take your time and go through everything, and don't worry about time, like, I want to do this in 5 years, I want to do this in 10 years. You're telling your body now that, hey, I got this project, it's going to take a long time. So now you have to last a longer time. Thank you very much.